Hi, my name is Trisha. I was the project coordinator of the Atwater Library Digital Youth Literacy Project from January to May 2014. I was inspired by the amazing work that was being done during that time, particularly in context of the Quebec Charter of Values. And I think during that time I was also feeling pretty antsy, so I wanted to do something, but I didn't exactly know how. I was doing things with my university and I was getting involved in other ways, but video was a really cool artistic medium to talk about controversial things, to talk about ideas that maybe not everyone shares. So when Eric presented me the opportunity to work with the project, I said, yes, of course, this is so interesting, this is so cool, this is exactly the kind of work that I want to explore. I also feel that the voices of youth are stifled in comparison to other voices that are out there. For example, in the media, in newspapers, on television, it's harder to hear lived experiences and they're not taken as seriously. So one of my objectives coming into this project was to give someone else the camera, was to give someone else the opportunity to share their own story in the way that they want to share it. Sometimes people, they didn't want to do that. Sometimes people are just like, I'm okay not being involved in the creative process. I'd rather just tell it and you edit it and let me see it, and if I'm okay with it, then yes, go ahead and show the world. The other cool thing about this project is that it's a series of conversations. This is the kind of stuff you and I can talk about. You don't need to have a degree. You don't need to have some sort of fancy validation in order to be able to discuss your own opinion. And I think that's really, really important. You don't need to have all these qualifications in order to say, hey, I have an opinion and I want to be heard and I want this to have meaning and I want this to affect other people. I think this is also one of the reasons why YouTube is growing exponentially, because people like hearing about other people's opinions and they like hearing about it in a way that's accessible, and they like seeing someone who they can relate to talk about things that they've been feeling and they've been hearing. So what's cool about video is that it's also a relatable format. In terms of challenges, I feel pretty blessed that there weren't many challenges. If there were challenges, they would be because of my limited time as a student. They would be because it takes time to find people who would be willing to share their opinions on the World Wide Web. In terms of the charter debate, Montreal is a great city to talk about what you're feeling and to be given platforms to express those feelings. So, to be honest, I didn't feel a lot of opposition. I didn't feel any opposition at all to the work that we were doing. If anything, more than anything, there was a lot of encouragement. There was a lot of people saying, yeah, we need this. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I want to see. And I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad other people are doing this. And there's so many things people want to share. And the other thing is, too, not everyone's comfortable in front of a camera. Even for me, as Eric will tell you, I'm impossible in front of a camera. It took me forever to make my own video because of the fear of seeing myself on camera. I grew so much from the experience, and now I'm more comfortable in front of a camera and I'm less self-conscious. It is insanely important to have these dialogues. Why? Because there aren't a lot of them, straight up. One of the things that I was worried about was, how can we create such ridiculous, hateful legislation against people without knowing anything about why they're wearing their religious symbol to begin with? And that is one of the other purposes of this project, was to say, hey, let's actually talk to people who wear a hijab, who wear a turban, and let's hear what they're talking about, and let's see what matters to them. What are they interested in? What are they affected by? What is their life like? They're Canadian, they're from Montreal, and they care about this place just as much as anyone else does. So why does interfaith dialogue matter? Interfaith stuff is some of the most magical stuff I've ever seen. When you get people together talking about things that mean a lot to them, that are really close to their hearts, they're close to their central core belief systems, it brings a lot in you in return. It's almost taboo nowadays. People don't like talking about faith. It's considered to be very personal, something that you don't want to bring up casually in a conversation because you don't know how the other person's going to react. And I think that's really strange. I think people are also afraid that if they talk about their faith, and someone else talks about their faith, it might contradict their own faith. But I don't think there's anything to be afraid of, because you don't know what you don't know. And you don't know what could potentially open your mind. What I'm trying to say is don't be afraid of what you don't know. And that's why interfaith dialogues are so important. It's about bringing people together and talking about things that maybe are controversial. Maybe people don't have regular conversations about. Maybe you don't talk about religion the same way you talk about the news. So let's talk about that now. Thank you so much to Eric and the whole team for making this project possible, for all the support, for all the guidance, for all the creativity and the energy. This project wouldn't be the same without a lot of people, and I am so fortunate and so lucky to have been a part of it. So thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening. Take care.